Hello and welcome, I'm on Fun, and today I'll do my 5th game against Blight Lord on Extinction mode together with Brama and Malastar. So let's see if we can do the reverse sweep and take down Blight Lord. 3 games out of 5. Do keep in mind, I do not think I'll do this for any other nemesis in Aeon's End. This is just for fun because I felt like their first 2 losses were like so bad, so unfortunate, and yeah, I wanted to prove that this setup is pretty good in consistently taking down Blight Lord and countering it. Do keep in mind, you could also swap out Brama for Fiat Draxa to play more or less the same similar role. Pretty good breaches, better third breach, though with Brama we don't even consider opening it. But here you can just focus on getting 4th breach open a lot more easily. You only have 2 sparks, so you can get through your deck a little bit faster, and also has a starting card that works very well with Malastar. So maybe look into that if you're interested in a somewhat similar setup that works in somewhat same ways, but is slightly different. Alright, so I will plug in the introduction to the setup and the explanation of what's going on from one of the other videos, and then I'll just go directly into the game and begin playing. Yeah, just to save time, use the chapters down below to go directly to gameplay if you so wish. Right. Blight Lord is a really nasty nemesis. Its gimmick is that it has these tainted jades, which cost 0, and when you use them, you gain 2 ether, but you suffer 1 damage. But you can also destroy them by spending 2 ether, and if you destroy them in any other way, you take 1 damage. You can, they count as a supply pile, so you can gain them at any time during your main phase, as you would from any other supply pile at the cost of 0. But we don't want to do that because it's very risky to do so when you're running low, because if you have 1 Tainted Jade in the supply pile at the beginning of the Nemesis turn, it advances the Tainted Track once, and we'll go into that. That has some nasty effects. If it has 0, you advance it twice. So that gets really fast, it goes bad really fast. Yeah, so at the beginning we make the supply pile, which is made up of 2, 1 for each mage, so in this case 2, and then plus 4. And we have the Tainted Jade track. Yeah, and we trigger those effects. Yeah, that's, and oh, increased difficulty. We removed 2 Tainted Jades, so we would have 6 on normal mode difficulty, but we have 1 additional 1, 70 HP, 80 HP on Extinction mode. So the Tainted Track has all these nasty effects. Gravehold suffers 7 at 3, player with the lowest life suffers 4 at 5, which is really bad because that means you have to HP manage a lot in order to not immediately just have one of the mages go down. Because if they go below 5, like if they go below half, down to half or below half HP, yeah, that's really difficult to manage. So you only really have, what, 6 HP total to, well, do anything with. And of course, Brama is gonna heal a bit, but we don't want to rely on it. So at 7, Blight Lord gains 10 life, so that's gonna further the game, like drag it out, so increasing the risk of running into tier 3 or not finishing off early enough in tier 2. And at 9, the player just lose. That's really bad, so we're gonna place the tracker on the first here. And for our mages, we have Malastar as our support mage, so to speak, because the only thing he's gonna do is gonna use Gift of Ether, activate during your main phase, gain a spell from any supply pile, you may prep that spell to any player's breach, open breach. So we want to do with Brama is just open her breaches, that's all she's gonna do. Gonna use Bison Ball Vortex and Blasting Staff and just get through her deck really fast by giving her Radiances over here. And Malastar really goes well with Blight Lord because he has Immolate. While prep, when you suffer damage, to gain 1 charge. So basically, by just taking all the Tainted Jades, figuring out how many he can use while also keeping Blight Lord 2 or above, Like, we can get a lot of charges out of that. That's what Blight Lord Malastar is gonna be doing. We have Brama. The only thing she's really doing is, of course, the pretty good breaches. We not really focus on third breach. We only need to open second and fourth breach. That's pretty good. We have some backup healing to mitigate some of that. Player with the lowest life suffers 4 damage on the Tainted Track. We have Buried Light, which is quite fine, especially 3 Ether and Crystals in hand. That gives you 4 Ether total when you cast this to give the Blasting Staff. That's more or less it for the mages. For our starting supply, we have Leeching Agate. When you gain this, gain 1 charge. Cost of 3 basically means if you have 3 Ether, instead of wasting 1, you can just gain a charge by getting this, while also building up your deck for later. That's one of the gems for Malastar. Sister Spell not really relevant. Clouded Sapphire not really relevant. We're not gonna buy them, they're just there to fill out, basically. We have Bottle Vortex. At cost of 3, destroy this. Destroy up to 2 cards in your hand or discard pile, draw a card. That's gonna help Brama empty out her deck so we can have more radiances compared to all of the cards. Blasting Staff, 4 cost. You may cast a prep spell that you prep this turn. If you do, that spell does 2 additional damage. Helps getting radiance through the deck a lot faster, and also just momentum. Really nice for Brama. Scrying Bolt, cast, deal 5 damage at the cost of 6. You don't really need to know much about this. It's not gonna bite much. Wildfire Whip, 6 cost. While prep during the main phase, you may spend 2 Ether to cast any player's prep spell. Cast, deal 4 damage. So it's not a part of our main strategy, but at the end, if Malastar has the ability to charge up, he can just prep Wildfire Whip, have a lot of unspent Ether, spend it on casting all the spells. So if he goes at the end, Brama has a lot of spells prepped. Well, there they go, onto Nemesis health, hopefully taking it out before tier 3, or even have an opening to just take out the Nemesis before they can do anything in round 7, on the last round of tier 2. And that's why we're having Wildfire Whip there. We are having Consuming Void if we just need a bit more damage with Gift of Ether to put it out and just deal some damage at the end. And then we have Radiance, the main spell. Cast, 8 cost, cast, deal 5 damage, each ally draws a card. So Malastar is gonna give Brama a lot of radiances, so deal, well, alright damage. Like 8 cost is really not that great, but what it does help with is giving Malastar a lot of draws, so he can draw into the Tainted Jades, get rid of them sooner, or use them for charges a lot faster. That's why we are running Radiance. We are playing on Extinction mode, so that means that Gravehold has 5 less HP, Nemesis has 10 more HP, and Mages has 2 less HP each. So 8 HP for Malastar and Brama, 25 for Gravehold, and 80 for Blight Lord. And with that said, let's get into the game. Round 1. Starting off with Brama. So we're gonna do the usual, spend 4 Ether to open up a second breach. So we are ready for Gift of Ether from Malastar, prepping Buried Light. It's gonna be it. We have Nemesis, nothing out there, so nothing to trigger. We have Shard Spitter, 5 HP. Persistent, Gravehold suffers 2 damage. Any player gains a Tainted Jade and places it on top of their deck. That's a difficult beast to deal with early game on, but I think we'll be alright. 1 persistent will trigger because we cannot deal with it during round 1. We have another Brama turn. So we're gonna cast Buried Light. We're gonna deal that damage directly to the Nemesis because at some point we're gonna get the Radiance either way, and then it's gonna take out Shard Spitter, so I think it's just better to wait for that. And we have 4 Ether, 1 from Buried Light, 3 from the Crystals. And that's gonna focus our 4th breach, where we're gonna prep a Spark and a Spark in our open breach over here, in case Malastar gets to charge up before Brama gets to go again. And we have another Nemesis, So Shardspitter gonna deal 2 to Gravehold down to 23. And puts a Tainted Jade on top of Malastar's deck. Alright, yeah, a new card of course. Oof. Vitrify. The players collectively gain 2 Tainted Jades and place them into their hands. So that's a pretty good start, though we are now down to 1 Tainted Jade over here, so yeah, so well, this is pretty much the perfect start apart from having the Shardspitter out as well, because this is going to be a heck ton of Tainted Jades going our way, but we'll have to deal with it somehow. Of course, both Malastar got all the Tainted Jades because that's his thing with Immolate. It's gonna give us some charges. Right, so, well, Malastar is gonna go twice in a row, I suppose. So, first of all, we're gonna use 3 Ether to open up the 3rd breach. To prep Immolate. That's 3 Ether spent. And, well, we have to sacrifice 1 for the Tainted Jade, so that's 1 life down to 7. And gives us 1 charge out the gate for 2 Ether. And I think, yeah, we're gonna use next turn to discard that Tainted Jade. So we're gonna do that again this turn to 6 life, go to 2 charges. That's 4 and 5 Ether, so it's leeching at Jade. For 3, which triggers another charge, and that's 3, and then we buy a charge for 4 charges total. We buy it for 2 Ether. And yeah. Go again. So yeah, I think I would rather run down the Tainted track a little bit, like risking that now. Though it can run for like 3. It's only Gravehold suffers 7, so I think I'm fine so far because we really want to get the Radiance into play. And if Brama gets to play twice in a row before Malastar gets to go again, that's like a lot of turns wasted where she's not running Radiance in the deck. So yeah, kind of unfortunately feel like we have to do that. So Tainted Jade suffers 1 damage, go down to 5 HP, goes to 5 charges, and then we have 6 Ether in hand. Yeah, so we're gonna buy 3 charges for that. So it goes to 6, spends them all on getting Radiance for Brama. And then we have 4 charges, Ether left for 2 charges. Whew. All right. I'll shuffle up and set the decks for round 2. Round 2. There we go. Just a little bit extra shuffling. So this is all about leveraging the risk of the Tainted Jades with getting ahead. So we later down can control a little bit more. We're starting with Malastar, so that's pretty nice, because then we can get the Jades under control again. I do not think it's worth risking it more. We could charge up all the way now, but where we would put the Radiance anyway. So we have 4 Ether apart from the Tainted Jades, so that's going to be enough to just destroy them outright, putting them back here. So now we're pretty much certain that it's not going to go again. That it's not going to go along the Tainted Jade track. So we're pretty much fine now. Well, all that preparation was for naught. Because yeah, Malastar is going to go here again. So we do kind of want to destroy this again, because otherwise that would be 2 Ether, 1 charge, that's 2 charges. 2 extra charges. That's 4 charges. That could charge us all the way up. If Brama had something open, I would definitely go for it, but we don't. So yeah, that's just going to be 2 ether spent to destroy the Tainted Jade, which is rather unfortunate because I really would have appreciated using it for another Radiance, but alas, here we are. So that's 2 ether left over for 1 charge, going up to 3. Alright, so that's enough from Malastar. 4 turns in a row. Pretty alright. Good. So yeah, I think we got this. Radiance deals 5 damage to take out Shard Bitter for no problem. This Spark has to go, so that's 1 damage. Yeah, and apart from knowing that Malastar is not gonna go next before Brama goes again, we can just leave our Sparks in. 4 to open the 4th breach, prepping Buried Light there. And that's it for Brama. Good. We have the Nemesis now. Haze Spewer. 5 life. Persistent Gravehold suffers damage equal to this minion's current life. Then this minion suffers 1 damage. And that's why I was really happy to see the Nemesis goes now, because now we can actually do something about it. Yeah, and we get to do it. Let's just draw the hand first. Alright, so Buried Light for 2, Spark for 1, bringing it down to 2 HP from 5, 3 damage. And we're gonna prep the Buried Light, prep the Spark. Gonna consider, yeah, that's pretty good. Just checking when we would get into the Bottled Vortex that we're buying now. We want it like on the 2nd draw from starting the deck, because then we'll draw down into the deck, discard that hand, and then draw into the Bottled Vortex that can then destroy cards in our discard pile instead of having to destroy them from hand. So that's what's going on there. That's why I'm counting. Alright, so we have the Nemesis now. That's just 2 damage to Gravehold, 21, going down to 1 HP. So that's super fine. 5 damage would have been hell. Alright, so Agony Field. To discard, destroy a card in hand that costs 2 or more. Power to unleash, any player discards 3 cards in hand and then draws 1 card. Probably the weakest power of all powers in tier 1 from the base box, first wave of Aeon's End. It's really not a threat right now. It can be frustrating to deal with, but it's not a threat right now. So that's it for round 2. Let's shuffle up, reset the decks, and get into round 3. Right, so round 3, last round of tier 1. It's going pretty decent. We have more or less everything under control. I did forget to draw 1 with Radiance for Malastar, but fortunately he has gone since. So now he has the 6 cards that he needed to be. I drew that during the in-between round. So good. That's it. We have Malastar. Could use Immolate now to take down Haze Viewer, but I think taking 1 damage for Gravehold is gonna be okay. We want to keep the Leeching Agate. We don't want to discard Destroy it for Agony Field because, well, we're gonna buy charges. So that's 2, 4, 7. That's a Leeching Agate for 3 for a charge. So that's up to 4, leaving us with 4 ether for 2 more charges. That's going to 6, and that's going to be another Radiance. And that's it for Malastar. That's pretty good so far. We have Malastar again. Yeah, okay. Would like to see some space in between, because now it's going to be can be quite difficult to deal with Tainted Jades if they don't come up in the right order. We have another 6 ether. I'm just going to spend that on 3 charges because that's just most efficient. And that's it for Malastar. I'm just going to draw that hand because we're going to go into a lot of Radiances now. Cool. I have Nemesis again. Right, so that's 1 down. Hastebearer is off. Agony Field goes down to 1. And draw a new card. Slaughter, unleash, Gravel suffers 3 damage. So that's what I mean about the Tainted Jades. We now have to wait for next turn. Going into discard pile. Gravel suffers 3, going down to 17. Yeah, a lot of early damage there. That's a bit unfortunate, but it's what it is. Right, so we have Nemesis again. Agony Field triggers. So unleash another Tainted Jade for Malastar. Fortunately there was 4, so we still have 2 left, so we don't move the Tainted track just yet. Any player discards 3 cards in hand and then draws 1 card. So here we want to keep the 4 ether to buy a blasting staff for Brama next turn, so we don't want to do that over here. And I think we're fine with doing it over here for Malastar. It's not going to be so difficult. That's 3 crystals, and we draw 1 crystal. It's pretty fine. Also, the problem with discarding for Brama would be that they would clog up the deck, so the radiances would be delayed. Good, so that is Agony Field resolved. And we draw Creeping Viridian. To discard, spend 7, power 3, any player against a Tainted Jade and place it into their hand, advance the Tainted track. Pretty weak power as well, I would say, especially now that it's 3 turns away. It's, yeah, maybe we deal with it, maybe we don't, probably not. We have Brama, so yeah, now we're getting some damage in, especially because we were lucky we didn't have a lot of minions. Well, we of course had Hastebearer in tier 1, but yeah, not a lot of minions. So that's 6 damage from this Radiance, 5 damage from just the spell, and then 1 from the Breach, so that's 6, 11. Going down to 767, and Malastar draws 2 cards. Well, almost a full hand. Well, a full hand again, I guess. Pretty nice. Yeah, and we're not done just yet. Think, do we want to keep the Buried Light in Breach 1 or 2? I think I'm just going to put it over here. That's 4 ether, that's a blasting staff. Because that will sync up with one of the radiances and we'll be pretty good. 5 cards, pretty good. Brama again. So we're gonna cast that spark for 1 damage. 66. Then we're gonna use Bottled Vortex to destroy the spark from our discard pile. And we're gonna destroy a crystal as well. Then we're gonna draw a card, flipping over our deck and drawing a Radiance. Pretty good. I guess we could have cast Buried Light here because we're gonna prep 2 spells. Next turn Malastar is gonna charge up, so actually, yeah, I should have done that. And I should have put in Breach too, but, well, it's what it is. Just put it there. So that's 1 extra damage. We have 4 ether, I suppose, but yeah, though it's not the best sync, I want another Bottled Vortex, I think. We don't want to deal with opening up our 3rd Breach now that we're just destroying all our sparks. Gonna be fine. 1. And there you can see the Blasting Staff. Good, that's it for round 3. We are doing pretty well on damage. We can likely burst it down pretty quickly. So let's see how we're gonna do in round 4. Also to keep in mind, we haven't even moved the Tainted track yet. And Gravehold is already at 17 HP, at 3 Gravehold suffers 7, so realistically we are looking at a 10 HP Gravehold, so we cannot sustain a lot more damage. We're starting with Malastar. So what do we have? Well, we have 4 ether from the Legion Agates and then 3, so that's 7 total. We could get rid of Creeping Viridian, but I would much rather just buy a Legion Agate for 3. So that's a charge up to 4. And well, there's 4 ether left, so that's 2 charges going up to 6. And that's another Radiance from Gift of Ether, and that's why we keep our breaches open. Good. Oh, my ruling about taking back plays is that as long as any randomness hasn't been introduced that you wouldn't be able to resolve, as long as you can put back the game state in the same way, then you can do that. But as long as like a new player turn order card has been drawn, that you didn't know the position of prior to, a new Nemesis card has been drawn, your shuffled deck from like a Nemesis effect, and you've seen the next card, then you can reset back pretty easily. Like, don't overdo it, obviously, but yeah, I don't think there's any fault in like realizing, wait, you made a misplay and I can reset it and then do it like I did. Good, so that's all from Malastar. Let's draw up. On the draw ups, we're ready for Radiances, and that's it for Malastar. Brama. Good, so that's 6, 5, 11 damage, going down to 454 already. That's pretty good. And we do just want to keep the spark prepped. That's 2 draws for Malastar. And we're gonna prep another Radiance, blast it off with Blasting Staff for 8 damage, 6 from the Breach and Spell, and then 2 from the Blasting Staff. That's 46, so we're almost halfway already. And then for 3 ether, yeah, I think we don't want to buy another Bottled Vortex, so I think we're just fine with beginning to buying charges. So, well, it's 1 lonely charge. Still, we do not want to open up our 3rd breach. We rather just want to buy charges and have them ready to heal up at some point, though we haven't taken a lot of player damage so far. Also, we drew that extra card from the last Radiance. Good, that's it for Brama. Nemesis. Good to see it go now in case we have some minions coming, though we already blasted all the damage from Brama. Lay Waste. Unleash twice, any player suffers 2 damage. Good. That's why we're having all that draw power from Malastar, so we can get rid of the next Tainted Jade. So whenever he goes, whenever he chooses to go, we are ready to get rid of some, because right now Gravel is gonna suffer 7. Alright, and any player suffers 2. I think I would rather do that on Brama right now to allow Malastar to be a bit more healthy in case we're gonna get into the player with the lowest life suffers 4 damage. So Brama gonna go down to 6 HP. And that's it for that. Moving on with Malastar. We are doing pretty good, very good. That's 4 ether over here. That's the 2 Tainted Jades gone. We can sleep fine again. So that's the 4 and then 2 left over for 1 charge. And that's why we have all the draw power. 1 charge. And we have Brama again. Good, so we're gonna use that spark to deal 1 damage, 45, because then we can use Bottled Vortex to destroy it, and a crystal from hand to destroy that, and then we draw 1 as a Radiance, so we are ready for next turn. That's pretty good. Buried Light prepped over there, and 2 crystals, that's 2 ether and a charge. Now we have a very slim deck all of a sudden. Could be slimmer, but it's pretty slim. We have Nemesis again. Creeping Viridian goes down to 1. And we draw Needlemore. Persistent. Gravel suffers 2 damage, 11 HP. Because we're drawing it so early in round 4, turn 8 for Nemesis, we might actually have to deal with it and use some of the damage from our Radiances and deal with it, take it down a bit. But because yeah, we don't have that much HP to deal with, considering that we might run into the Grave Hole Suffer 7 at some point. So that's what we're considering right now. Good, let's shuffle up and go into round 5. Round 5. Let's see what we have here. We have Nemesis starting off. That's pretty bad. So Creeping Viridian, any player gains a Tainted Jade and plays it into the hand, so that goes into Malastar's hand. And advance the Tainted Jade track. Advance the Tainted track, going down to 1. Second place. If it goes again, we will automatically go to number 3 and Grave Hole suffers 7 damage. So yeah, Needlemore, Persistent, Grave Hole suffers 2, so down to 15 HP. And we draw a new card. Venomite. 9 HP. Persistent, the player with the lowest life suffers 2 damage, or any player discards a prep spell that costs 3 or more. Yeah, that's pretty gnarly, I would say. That's pretty gnarly. Yeah, so we really hope that Brama goes next, because well, Malastar is going to survive it so far because we have so much player health, so actually we're not doing that bad. It could be worse. Talking about that, we only have 1 Tainted Jade over here, so the track moves 1, that's to 3, Grave Hole suffers 7, and then Needlemore hits with Persistence, so we suffer 9 total, so 6 HP left. And then we can choose with discarding Radiance or just suffering 2 on Immolate, sorry, on Malastar, and I think I'm gonna do that, so it goes down to 3. 1 charge. Yeah, all of a sudden, that Grave Hole HP is quite low, or so far. Good, so Oshify. The players collectively gain 3 Tainted Jades and place them on top of their decks. Okay, so we only have 1, so that's gonna go on Malastar's deck. At least we have a lot of turns to resolve this. And then you suffer 1 damage for each Tainted Jade that you cannot gain. So Malastar goes down to 1, suffering 2 damage on 2 different occasions. So that's 4 charges, 1 HP. Okay. Double Nemesis turns in a row can be quite bad. Good, so Malastar. We definitely want to get rid of the Tainted Jades now, especially since we cannot suffer the HP. So that's 2 from the Leeching Agate. Removes 1 at least. I'll play that down there. We have 4, 6 ether. That's 3 charges. We need 2 to get another Gift of Ether off. Going to 6 there. Gift of Ether, Radiance over here on Brama. And we have 1 left over for another charge. And that's it for Malastar. Gonna go another Malastar. Not sure if I quite like that, because the problem is yeah, exactly. We have too many Tainted Jades. I would have appreciated to draw another card, like quite a few more cards, because now we can only use the 2 crystals to get rid of 1 Tainted Jade, and then these Tainted Jades are kind of stuck in hand, because I can't really what's it called? Afford sacrificing them alive for it, because we don't have that right now. Then we should have suffered one with Brama. Either way, it's what it is. So these 2 Chain of Jades are left in hand. And we draw 3. And that's it for Malastar. Moving on to Brama. Good, so let's see. We deal 8 with the Radiance, so we could use the Blight Lord to get rid of Venomite next turn. With Blasting Staff. Yeah, and that's 11 damage. That takes out Neil more exactly. We could just say like, oh, we just want to deal that 11 damage to Nemesis, but I think it's better off taking down the minions right now because we have the whole next turn to take care of it. So I think that's better off. So that's 11 damage from the Radiances here, taking off Neil more. And that's 2 cards for Malastar. And then we have another Radiance here, using Blasting Staff on it to deal 8 damage to Venomite, going down to 1. And Malastar draws another card. Good, 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 good. Prepping Radiance. And for 2 Ether, we charge up. And we, putting Blasting Staff in our discard pile. Brama again. Good. Getting pretty gnarly. So we use the Radiance here for 6 damage against Blight Lord. So down to 39, we are past the halfway point. Malastar draws an additional card. That's a lot of cards. Blight Lord's gonna trigger to take down Venomite. And we prep Radiance. And for 4 Ether, I suppose, we could charge all the way up. And I think I'm just gonna do that. So go to 5 and use Brink Siphon to give heal Malastar 4 HP to 5. Good. Well, that's an order then. And at least we have the 2 Tiny Jades over here already, so we're not gonna risk anything for round 6. So let's shuffle up and see what's gonna happen. Round 6. So the thing is, if I hadn't felt threatened to take out the minions, I probably, if Brama went twice in a row now, I had the damage to take it out at the beginning of round 6, but I think we have to go into round 7 now, I think. I haven't calculated everything because like so much can vary. Good. So we're starting off with Brama. That's gonna be 11 damage outright. Bring it down to 28. Malastar draws 2. It's almost drawn the full deck. Pretty insane. We're gonna draw another one from Radiance from hand, blasting off with Blasting Staff for 8 damage, going down to 20. And drawing 1 more card. And prep a Radiance, 2 crystals, that's an Ether. 2 Ether is a charge. There we go. And that's gonna be it. And we go Malastar. So exactly what do I want to do? So much Ether. It's just... Right, so how many things can unleash and how's that gonna impact us? Because I can keep Immolate prepped, I suppose, because that would be 2, 4 charges. 5, that's all charges we need. And that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 1 off. 2, 3, 4, Wildfire. Yeah, 1 ether off from just outright prepping 2 Radiances to Brama. How would that even help? Well, it would be a... What would it be? It would be a Consuming Void and a Wildfire Whip. If I could have done that, because that would be 6 damage from the Radiance. Prepping... Oh. And then the Wildfire Whip would deal 7 damage for the Consuming Void. 13 damage, 7 off. Yeah, not quite enough. No, I think we're gonna go the safe route over here. And just spend 4... Oh, we're so close. What can we do? We have 6 damage coming in over here, down to 14. We can prep a Buried Light, then have a Wildfire Whip ready for next turn for Malastar. Doesn't really matter who gets this one spell. So let's run it a bit risky, I think. Alright, so that's 2 ether to discard, destroy the Tainted Jade, I believe. Yeah, because we have, if we keep a Wildfire prep next turn, we might have it. So that's Tainted Jade, taking 1 damage down to 4, and then up to 2 charges, 2 ether left. That we just want to keep 3, so in case we have a double unleash, we only move it once. That's 2 ether, 4, 6. 8, so that's all the way up to 6. That's a Gift of Ether. Getting another, yeah, actually just getting a Consuming Void over here, I believe. And then we have 2, 5 ether. That's, what would we have? We have 2 crystals, and we have 6 Leeching Agates, I think. 3 Leeching Agates, so that would be, what, 8 ether. Right now we're talking about 2 charges. It's not quite enough. So instead of spending the 2 ether on Leeching Agates, on Tainted Jade, I think we're just gonna risk it for the fun of it. So we're gonna take that Tainted Jade back. So that's the 2 ether and plus 2. To suffer 1 more, down to 3. For another charge, that's 3. So what do we have? So that turned to a plus 2 instead of a minus 2. 4, 6, 7, 8, 10, 12, 14, 15, plus 2 charges. We were at 1 charge already. That moves up to 3 charges. And with 15, yeah, so that's the 2 charges on the damage. That's the 3, and moves up to 5 with the ether from there. 2 moves us up to Gift of Ether. That's a Consuming Void. That's 2 charges. 3, 4, 5, 1 ether left over. Good, that's 5 ether. 5 charges. And then we're gonna get the Leeching Agates at the bottom to draw into them next. Because then we can use Wildfire Whip to potentially take out the Nemesis next turn, if Brama goes in between, I guess. Yeah, so let's draw that hand. And even if it doesn't, I guess, maybe? We'll see. Brama, Malastar goes again, so let's check that. So that's 2 damage on the Immolate. Down to 18. So 2 for the Gift of Ether, that's to 6. That's Wildfire Whip. Oh, yeah, I should have gotten another Radiance. So that's 2 from the Leeching Agate, that's a Radiance. That's 6 damage. Down to 12, drawing 1 card over here. And 2 to Consuming Void, that's 6. Yeah, even with the 5 damage from Wildfire Whip, it wouldn't have been enough. So we're just gonna Wildfire Whip for the 5. Down to 7. So we would have been 1 damage off. And then, yeah, 1 charge. Okay, so in that case, we should have just prepped the Consuming Void on our own over here. But it's what it is. But actually, it's still on our own turn, so we can just put the Radiance back over here. That's fine. 5 cards there. The Immolate still goes off. We don't buy the Wildfire Whip. That Radiance never goes off because, well, what's the need? Because we need the damage from ourselves. So, well, yeah. We just get the Wildfire Whip off, I suppose. That's the 5, yeah. Yeah, so everything moves back to what it was. Unless we actually just give the Wildfire Whip to Brama herself, I suppose. Yeah, I think that works. Yeah, that actually might just work. Yeah, that works. Yeah, so Brama gets the Wildfire Whip. And everything over here stays more or less the same. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah. Yeah, so let's put back Nemesis back to life. So it didn't suffer the 6 from the Radiance. And it didn't take the 5 from Wildfire Whip, so it goes back to the 18. It still suffers the 2 from Immolate. So okay, so that's. I think this is gonna work. This is gonna work. We have the Nemesis now, perfect. Dread, Blenth. To discard, spend 8, power 2, advance the tainted track twice. Yeah, that's totally fine because we're never gonna. We're done before that ever gets a chance to trigger. We have Nemesis again, that's super fine, We have 2 over there, yeah. Cauterizer. 3 HP. When damage is dealt to this minion, reduce that damage to 1. Persist in any player suffers damage equal to this minion's current life. Yeah, that's super fine, no worries. Alright, so I believe, if my calculations are right, we have this. We got this. Alright, so that's the 6 damage from Radiance, going down to 12. 6 damage from Consuming Void, by destroying a crystal and a buried light. So down to 6. And then we're left with 2 crystals in hand and Radiance. And Wildfire Whip is gonna pay off that Radiance to deal that 6 damage. Drawing 2 cards over here, I suppose. Oh, that should have been discarded. 1, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2. Just for good measure, And there you have it. Round 6 victory, just by the skin of my teeth. Yeah, so you can kind of see the strength of Wildfire Whip there, enabling the end of the game in that fashion. Even though I had to think about it a little bit too much, I suppose, because there are so many damage calculations to consider. And so we won. Yeah, we did the reverse sweep. Good job to Brama and Malastar, even though it got a bit tense at the end. hadn't even suffered the fall from the player with the lowest life suffers 4 damage on the Tainted Track. Oh, yeah. I don't have much more to say. You've probably seen this setup, been played a few too many times now. Best of 5 is probably not a format I'm gonna move forward with, but it was pretty exciting. Managed to show off some of the interesting gameplays that can be for this setup against this Nemesis, and it really showcases how you have to lean into the risks and rewards to beat it on its own terms, because otherwise you're just not gonna have enough to deal with it. Yeah, just figuring out that puzzle. Feel pretty good about this, pretty exciting at the end. So yeah, pretty successful. We'll move on to the Wayward one for the next game, so do watch out for that. Thank you so much for watching.